Wonder Woman bracelets could deflect bullets, but in real life, nothing could stop the controversy that surrounded Lynda Carter's personal life. Her husband's legal crisis put this one-time Hollywood sex symbol back into the headline. Did Lynda Carter pose for Playboy? Did Lynda Carter pose for Playboy? Recently, some memorabilia featuring former Wonder Woman actress Lynda Carter was being auctioned off when a rare item drew the public's attention. This rare item was a mock Playboy centerfold that featured Lynda baring her breasts. Despite the fact that Lynda Carter played a housewife that posed for Playboy in a 1991 made-for-television feature titled I Posed for Playboy, Lynda Carter herself has never posed for the magazine. Because of this centerfold raised a lot of questions. It didn't take long for people to realize that this centerfold was actually a prop from a movie and that the movie was Apocalypse Now. Die-hard Apocalypse Now fans have likely been aware for a long time about Lynda Carter's involvement in the classic war film during its early production. Before Lynda Carter rose to fame portraying the titular character on the television series Wonder Woman, she was cast in a minor role in Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now. That minor role was the character of Miss May. In the film, Miss May appears during a USO show to entertain the troops, and that USO show goes terribly wrong when the soldiers watching get a bit too excited. After being cast in the role of Miss May, Lynda Carter did a little bit of location shooting on a gigantic USO show set that had been created for the film in the Philippines. Of course, she also went about posing for the picture that was used to create the mock centerfold. Lynda Carter's time working on Apocalypse Now was cut short as a result of Typhoon Olga, which occurred in May of 1976. The typhoon destroyed the USO show set that had been constructed for the film, and it was going to need to be rebuilt before filming resumed. During this period of halted filming, Lynda returned to America. While there, the burgeoning actress received the great news that she had received the role of Wonder Woman on the classic show. Lynda Carter ended up quitting Apocalypse Now. Lynda Carter ended up quitting Apocalypse Now. One can imagine that Lynda Carter wasn't incredibly excited about telling Francis Ford Coppola that she was no longer going to be able to work on his film. The production of Apocalypse Now was so turbulent that there was a documentary was created about it, and many consider this documentary to be even more harrowing than the film itself. A telltale sign of Apocalypse Now's troubled production is the fact that the movie was filmed in 1976, yet wasn't finished and released until 1979. Lynda Carter went on to portray the character of Wonder Woman, and Francis Ford Coppola had to go about recasting the role of Miss May. The director ended up turning his sights on another then-unknown actress, this time by the name of Colleen Camp. Colleen Camp then portrayed the character of Miss May in the film, and she also recreated the Playboy centerfold that Lynda had posed for previously. Though Colleen Camp posed for her own centerfold, most claim that the original Lynda Carter Playboy centerfold can still be seen in both popular cuts of Apocalypse Now. The theatrical cut of Apocalypse Now was the first to be released, and it seems that some of the footage shot before Lynda Carter left the production was included in the final product. However, when the character of Miss May appears in person, the actress portraying her is most certainly always Colleen Camp. Still, it's pretty interesting that Lynda Carter not only makes a small appearance in Apocalypse Now, but that said appearance also features her topless. Although Apocalypse Now's production was troubled, the film ended up being released by the end of the 1970s. For the most part, the film was a critical success. The scene featuring the character of Miss May is just one small part of the epic film that makes it so memorable. The loss of Lynda Carter is far from being the only hurdle that Francis Ford Coppola had to overcome over the course of Apocalypse Now's production. There's also the fact of the matter that one of his lead stars showed up to work completely out of shape and nearly unable to speak. If you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to hit the like button to show your support. Also, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to be among the first to know when more Miss May Didn't Get Any Lines in the Theatrical Cut Facts Verse videos are on their way. Miss May Didn't Get Any Lines in the Theatrical Cut. The character of Miss May is one of the only female characters in Apocalypse Now, and she doesn't have any lines in the theatrical cut of the film. The character's role is slightly increased in 2001's Apocalypse Now Redux, which stands as Francis Ford Coppola's preferred cut of the film. The increased role of Miss May is only one of many things that Apocalypse Now Redux adds to the theatrical cut of the film. However, there are still plenty who prefer the much more condensed theatrical cut. The original cut of Apocalypse Now was already well over 2 hours, and Apocalypse Now Redux is well over 3. The USO show scene is only one small part of Apocalypse Now, but it's among the most memorable towards the first half of the film. Of course, USO shows were common during the Vietnam War, and they didn't typically end as poorly as the fictional one displayed in Apocalypse Now. Thankfully, Miss May and the other playmates are saved by their MC before the soldiers can get their hands on them. Besides Colleen Camp as Miss May, Apocalypse Now also featured actresses Cynthia Wood and Lynda Carpenter as other playmates. Colleen Camp went on to find some modest success soon after Apocalypse Now was released due to her subsequent roles in comedy films, though she has never become the same kind of household name as Lynda Carter. Lynda Carter is still recognized by many today as being the most iconic Wonder Woman actress. More trivia about the USO show scene ever. More trivia about the USO show scene in Apocalypse Now. Miss May and the other Playboy playmates are saved from the horny soldiers by their MC, which is a character that was played by a close and personal friend of Francis Ford Coppola's. This close and personal friend was a man by the name of Bill Graham, who was a notable music promoter. Bill Graham's work as a music promoter made him the perfect person to play the MC. Though Bill was incredibly influential in the world of music during his lifetime, he wasn't the biggest public figure. Because of this, most people don't recognize him. The set that was built for the USO show scene of Apocalypse Now was created specifically for the film. Not only that, but it had to be created twice. The set was entirely built before the aforementioned Typhoon Olga occurred. Ironically, the destruction of the set by the gigantic typhoon was actually considered a blessing by director Francis Ford Coppola. Soon after the first set was constructed, Francis was devastated to realize that he had made a faulty calculation. Francis had the set constructed inland, but such a USO stage during the actual war would have needed to have been on the shore due to so many soldiers arriving by boat. Upon realizing the mistake that he had made regarding the USO show set, Francis told the rest of the production team that he wanted the set to be destroyed and rebuilt. This was considered too ridiculous of demand, and Francis was eventually forced to accept that he was going to have to find some way to film the USO show scene without showing the audience that the set wasn't on the shore. However, Typhoon Olga intervened. Though Typhoon Olga made it so that Francis had to recast Lynda Carter, it also gave him the opportunity to get his proper seaside USO show set. Apocalypse Now had other casting issues. Apocalypse Now had other casting issues if Francis Ford Coppola was upset when Lynda Carter quit Apocalypse Now. It's possible that he let her down easy due to how happy he was over his set being destroyed. Francis Ford Coppola certainly had to deal with performers much flakier than Lynda Carter during the filming of the classic war film. After working with Marlon Brando in The Godfather, Francis brought the actor back to appear in an important role in Apocalypse Now. However, Marlon didn't take the role very seriously. Marlon promised to do such things as lose weight for the role and read the book that the film was based on. He did neither such thing. Not only this, but Marlon was also essentially unintelligible during filming as a result of his increasing personal issues. Francis ended up finding a way to make Marlon work in the feature, and most fans of the film think that the actor's bizarre appearance only adds to the movie's unique atmosphere. Outro Lynda Carter is still alive today at the age of 71, and she recently made a cameo in 2020's Wonder Woman 1984. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know that Lynda Carter posed nude for a scene in Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now, and that she had to quit the movie's filming after receiving the role of Wonder Woman? As always, like this video to show your support, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be among the first to know when more Facts Verse videos are on their way.